Today we're going to be hearing about the future and promise of archives, which I had a hint at earlier today when Rick told me that he is interested in understanding archives as cultural producers and not just repositories or preservers or filers, but as cultural producers. In an article about his work, a reporter commented, Prelinger has mined ephemeral films extensively, looking for clues to how Americans lived and how they were told to live and to behave and to consume, and most important, to how we are all supposed to feel about it. Rick Prelinger.
We live in a media culture where old and new images kind of take, it's a checkerboard type thing. There's an alternation, there's a mixture of old and new. It didn't used to be that way. It was really hard to see old images except in special places. History is no longer specialized. It's no longer on the periphery. It's in the cultural mainstream. This is the new form of media production. It's social production. It's collaborative production. I think we should think about archives as cultural producers. We should think of archives as if they were authors, as if they were makers, as if they were entities that pushed their material out into the world. A lot of people use the term enclosure to describe the web of copyright law, the new kinds of restrictions, the digital rights management, all the things that stand between you and access to culture. Hollywood models are infecting the education world and the archives world, and a lot of people who work in the non-commercial world are fascinated, but they're freaked out by these culture industry business models. There's some real injustices in copyright. Copyright terms have been extended and the public domain is static. It is not growing. The present copyright system is broken. It doesn't serve really anybody's interests very well. It doesn't even serve the interests of the people that own works. Copyright, I think, is actually going to change. What happens when you put content out into the world and say, use this, you really enable authorship on a whole, sort of on an increased level. And what it's also given us is the chance to enter into a highly collaborative relationship with all kinds of strangers. And it may not be direct, hands-on, working together, but we're making it a little bit easier for people to make work. And then a lot of that work comes back to the site. It comes back to us. But the thing that the remixer is one of the keys to the survival of archives. Archives are too quiet right now, and remixers are going to make them noisy again. If you go to the Internet Archive site, you can download anything you want and reuse it under the Creative Commons license. In the digital world, in the world that we now live in, openness is critical because it means you have to be able to touch content. It isn't enough for that content to be displayed. The way that archives and society meet is through access, and the way that documentary makers and society link together is through distribution. So use justifies archives, but archives and their users have been historically been frozen in a relationship that's really unfulfilling. Archives are too important to be left to archivists, and I think this is one place where you come in. They need help to open up their collections. They need help from scholars, and they need help from makers. And what I think you need to do is that if you want access to archival material, you need to demand it. If anybody wants anything out of this to use, it's the Creative Commons license, and you can use it under the attribution, non-commercial, share-alike license.